So people often ask me, they say, hey Mark, how did you manage to read 30 books in 30 days? And I tell them, no one's actually asked me that, and they probably never will. But I'm going to tell you anyway. Hello everybody, welcome to and welcome back to my channel, Book Time with Elvis with me, Mark. And I hope you're doing very well indeed. So, as you're obviously aware by now, given the theme of the last few videos, that I took part in Shorty September, that amazing reading event to read 30 books in 30 days. I achieved it, I did it, yes I'm the best, you can bow down before me. Now you may rise and sit back, relax, and listen to what I have to say as I tell you how I did it. Well, there's no great secret. I pretty much opened the book and started reading. Well, most of the time. Sometimes I did do it with mixing the physical book and the audio book. Because I was at work, I didn't necessarily have the time to sit down and read, but I could listen during my breaks, for example. When I was walking Elvis, I could listen, and then I would come back and find the relevant place in the book and continue. I think that helped tremendously, especially as I'm able, maybe, I know some people find it difficult, but I'm very able and find it rather easy to listen at a book at 1.5 times to 2 times speed. Maybe it's part of my teaching thing that my ears tune to it or whatever, but that I think helped a lot. Is it cheating? I don't think so. Is it reading? No. But I'm still consuming the book, and as I said, I would come back and read the actual book from where I left off. So it was kind of a mishmash of the two. Maybe you're not too fond of it. It didn't happen on every occasion. With slightly longer ones, it did. Because I knew, although actually not the longest. I think the longest being possibly the Labyrinth Makers or the Queen's Gambit. No, those I did read, but I did kind of make sure that I saved some of the harder ones for the weekends, which I guess kind of makes sense because I would have more time. But yeah, I mean, obviously having to go out with Elvis and walk around, it did help to be able to shift back and forward between the two mediums for reading or consuming the book that I had to read. So that's one strategy I employed. What else did I do? Well, also I maintain that when you read the book within a 24-hour period, you are still reading the book in one day. Now, a little secret, of course, which, obviously didn't explain at the time, is that I wouldn't let the idle hours go by. So if I read something like, Sheets, which is a, graphic novel, which isn't going to take very long to read, an hour, maybe 90 minutes, probably at most, something like that. I wasn't going to let the other hours in the day pass by. So I would start the following day's book earlier, if possible, but I would still ensure that I kept to it within that 24-hour period. So if it meant that I started at 5 p.m., then the cutoff the following day would still be 5 p.m. right? So I still read the 30 books within a 24-hour period, 30 days, but each day being a 24-hour period. But sometimes, of course, reading, although not completing, unless it's, no, I don't think I completed 2 books in one day ever. But yeah, I would be foolish to allow those idle hours to go to waste, I think, anyway. So that obviously helps. I think finding a strategy, finding a plan for tackling this kind of project, putting in place which books you're going to read when, is definitely going to help you go through something like this if you plan to read 10 books in 10 days, 30 books in 30 days, 100 books in 100 days, maybe even. Although that would be a rather daunting task, I think. But there's no great secret. I'm sure a lot of people would do it. Obviously, if I didn't have to mix taking on the challenge with holding down a job, then it would be relatively easy. For me, the ideal thing would have been that it was shorty August or July rather than shorty September, because as a teacher, September, especially that first day back, first week or so back, is extremely busy. So it was definitely a challenge to juggle those two things around, to juggle my reading and my work. But to be honest, as I said, there's no real secret to it. Just plan and know which books you're going to read when, and don't waste those idle hours. And also, of course, choose books that you think are going to work for you. So there are plenty of long books that are quick to read and short books that take you a long time to read. Now, I think if I look back at my original pile of possibilities and to be read pile that I did in anticipation of Shorty September, I removed quite a few and changed a few things around. There were even others on the long list, didn't make it onto that short list, that were probably even shorter than some of the ones I read. But I just had a feeling that if I was going to tackle something like, I don't know, The Sorrows of Young Werther or something, which is very short, no doubt very good, it would be a harder read and put more kind of strain on your mental capacity than, you know, I don't know, The Labyrinth Makers by Anthony Price, or a Maigret novel by Georges Simenon. You know, it's definitely going to be more of a mental workout. So I didn't think of that at first when I pulled out my initial long list. So when I sat down and kind of looked through it, and I did kind of, you know, read a few parts of some books to see whether they would fit for me and whether I would be able to face them. And then, of course, there is the issue that when you're a mood reader, I had to fit in being a mood reader whilst reading those books. So that did lead to some of those changes. That's why things like Wind in the Willows popped in there, 3 Men in a Boat at the end popped in, because the mood grabbed me. They happened to fit the criteria of the event, and I was able to do them. But in terms of any real secret stratagem of you know, taking on a challenge like this, no. Just make sure you plan what you're going to read and choose the right books for the right days, and don't overwhelm yourself, would be my advice. So there we have it. Hope you enjoyed it. I hope you'll consider taking part in this wonderful event next year. I'm certainly going to do it again, and this should be the last video on it, the last word on it, at least for a year. Thanks for watching, everybody. Do take care. All the best. Bye for now.